The word in itself, shaman, is or means the one who knows. What we understand for shaman today in the modern world is that it's that person who takes the role of the guide of the community or the society. Is that person that takes the role of the healer, the counselor, the priest, the doctor of the community. It's very important to understand that the word shaman does not have the same connotation in all different indigenous tribes. If you go to certain places of Mexico, you wouldn't dare to use that word because the word shaman means the sorcerer. It would be the person who would use magic in order to harm other people or for personal purposes. So yes, shamanism as a modern term, as a modern word that brings together all the different indigenous knowledge and wisdom from around the world, it refers to that wisdom that goes back to living in harmony with the earth. It encapsulates the spiritual belief system of our ancestors and those indigenous tribes that still live according to those principles. A spiritual system that we have a recollection of since humans have been on earth. So the core principle to understand in shamanism is that the real reality is a reality of oneness and no separation. What does that mean? That means that they believe everything to be one. They believe that consciousness animates, or spirit animates everything that surrounds us. So the stars, the animals, the planets, the plants, us as human beings, we are all made of the same stuff. We are all one. And when we can understand that concept, when we understand that perspective that we can also find in Buddhism or Hinduism, it's much easier to understand why a healer or a medicine man or a medicine woman would do or work or heal the way they do. If you believe that there is no separation in between you and the plants, well, I think nothing of traveling into the consciousness of the plant and asking, either telepathically or by an inner journey, connecting to that consciousness of that specific plant, asking the plant what are her properties, what are her abilities, and to teach me how can I use it. And the plant will communicate back to me. For example, they've been shocked many times when they've been doing research with indigenous people because of the detailed knowledge that the people of these tribes have of the plants of their environment. But you see, if you are a person who has been born in the rainforest and you believe your environment to be the same as you are, and you are used to talk and communicate with the plants from the first day you were born, well, there's no reason why there should be any secrets in between you and the plants. Now when we take the journey of the mind, that's very much the journey that we've embarked on in the Western world. We have to go then the scientific way and do a lot of lab tests and realize and decide through scientific proof that a plant has one property or another. Well, in indigenous tribes, for the medicine man or the medicine woman, there's no such thing as scientific tests. There's simply telepathy, or the inner spiritual connection with the consciousness. It's one of the main differences of the way the indigenous people live and the way we live in the Western society. Indigenous society, there's connection, there's oneness, and in the Western society there's aloneness and separation. In indigenous wisdom, the real reality is the spiritual reality, that reality of oneness. And in the Western world, that reality of oneness we have very harshly labeled as schizophrenia or psychosis or bipolar. And anybody who is able by nature and who is born with the great gift of being able to travel to the realms of the unconscious and connect naturally with those realms, we tend to say that they are away with the fairies, or that they are not well in the head, because they are outside from the box that we have created in the Western society. I've worked with many people throughout the years that have been labelled and medicated by our psychiatric system, and all what they were going through was probably a moment of awakening or awareness, or all the fault they had was that they had a great power of imagination or a great power psychic ability. So in our Western world we do not give room for these things. I consider that the scientific medical system or the biological medical system has brought us huge knowledge. That was the place where I myself somehow started my own journey to in medical school. Though at some point in there we've lost the connection with the spirit, and we've made science the God and the hero and put it in a pedestal, and we've forgotten that behind it all the truth is that we know nothing, and we know very little, and all we can do is to understand with the perception that we have the world that surrounds us, but that it's impossible from this little scope of perspective that we have here in a physical body to pretend that we know it all, and that we have seen it all and understand it all, and that we have the answers for everything.